Hello, welcome back, tuning in today's second video. I've done the 5-day forecast already. You can find me out on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a bit. It's underneath link ads. There's also a written version. You get that via buttons at the top of the page. We're starting off cold, but we are going to see a recovery in the temperature over the weekend, although a lot of uncertainty about the bank holiday weekend this year. I don't think, or May Day bank holiday weekend this year, I don't think the models still have a complete handle on exactly what is going to be occurring. So we'll do the 6th update for the bank holiday weekend tonight, and we'll see what the model is showing then. This update is going to take us out to the 10-day time frame. We'll also have a look at the Beijing Climate Centre for the next 40 days as well. That takes into June, can you believe? The very start of the summer is covered by this update. So I'll begin with the central England temperature. This is the latest from Hadley in terms of central temperature for April. We provisionally stand at 9.4, an anomaly of 1.7 degrees above average, provisional up to yesterday, 26th of April. You would possibly expect this to be a bit colder, because certainly I'm in the central England region, and it hasn't felt all that warm really here for the past couple of weeks. Bear in mind, we did have a very, very warm start to April, and whilst it has been cooler over the past couple of weeks, we've not really offset those very high temperatures that we had in the first week of the month. Particularly, we haven't had especially cold nights, although the past couple of nights have been quite cold. We're in for another pretty cold night tonight, temperatures possibly going below freezing. So I would expect this to tick down a bit more up to the weekend, and then probably level off actually over the weekend. Whether we finish up underneath 9 degrees, I think it's uncertain, but we are going to finish up above average. That's for definite. Just be a case of how above average we finish up. I suspect it'll be somewhere over 1 degree Celsius, which is pretty impressive really, given overall it hasn't been a memorably warm month. It just goes to show you how very, very warm it was through that first week to 10 days of the month. So these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. The red line here is the upper air temperature average over the past 30 years. We see that we are colder than average at the moment, so we're having a proper cold spell. Very gradually over the next few days, we've been talking about this in recent videos, very gradually over the next few days, those temperatures will be ticking up a little bit. And then by the time you get through to the start of May, that's Monday, 1st of May, of course, bank holiday money just there, we find that we are actually a little bit above average, and we stay fairly warm then, it's above average anyway, going through the first week or so of May, which is this period just here. Now these temperatures are going to be drawn in on easterly winds, so exactly how warm it's going to be, I think it is open to question. Certainly the temperatures will lift up compared to where they are now. Wouldn't necessarily be expecting a very warm spell of weather though, because I think I should have a chance at the moment. I think we are going to be plagued by easterly winds, which are very common of course in May. It's our most easterly month of the year. So I think we're going to be plagued by easterly winds through the opening part of May, and they'll probably be dragging in quite a lot of cloud with them, especially to the eastern side of the country. So daytime temperatures may not be all that far from average, although I think these cold nights we've been having recently, they will very soon be a thing of the past. In terms of precipitation, actually it's looking a little bit more unsettled, I think, on the chart this morning. So we've got some showers coming up, this cold weather at the moment. As we go beyond that, we're going to keep rainfall spikes, or we're going to bring back rainfall spikes over the bank holiday weekend to the southern part of the country. And then possibly it's a little bit more unsettled through this opening week of May. So although we've got high pressure to our north and northeast, I have to show you the charts so you see what's happening. But although we've got high pressure to our north and northeast, southern areas particularly may be plagued by some areas of low pressure, which might bring some showery rain at times into the south. This is a temperature anomaly for the next week. This is going from the 26th of April to the 4th of May, looking colder than average still for those parts of Europe. These will be trending warmer over the next few days. You notice it's trending warmer down in the southeast of Europe. I think all parts will start to trend warmer on these charts over the coming few days. Precipitation looks like it's changing a bit as well. It's been very dry across northwestern Europe on these charts for quite a long time now. Actually, they're beginning to look a little bit more, a little bit wetter, particularly through southern parts of England down in towards France, just telling us that the pattern, I think, is changing quite a bit. So this is actually what's going on. This is for Sunday. We've got high pressure building over Scandinavia. We've got low pressure out to the southwest. We're bringing up a warmer southerly southeast wind, so the temperatures will be lifting up over the weekend. That's the main thing. But this low pressure, I talk about this in 5-day forecast, this low pressure is close to southern England on Bank Holiday Monday. It could bring rain into the south. However, I don't think the exact position of this area of low pressure is yet definitive. So this could be further north, it could be up here somewhere, Bank Holiday Monday. Conversely, it could be down here around Biscay and leaving us with a mostly dry and fine Bank Holiday weekend. So still watch this space in terms of the Bank Holiday. Beyond that, we keep this little area of low pressure plaguing us down to the southwest. But the main thing is this big area of high pressure building over Scandinavia that is getting the wind around to the east. So next week, you find the wind's going easterly, probably dragging quite a bit of cloud to eastern parts of the country. Temperatures will be warmer than where they have been this week, but I wouldn't necessarily be expecting temperature to be especially warm, you see what I mean, because if you follow the isobars back, the air is originating from up here somewhere, and it's got a bit of a northeasterly component to it, so it's not air being dragged up from southern Europe. It's not a very warm air mass. So as you go through to the second half of next week, high pressure really dominating. Look at this. We've got big area of high pressure, 1,040 millibars to the north of Scotland, real easterly coming in. If we're down bad in January, we'd have been talking about freezing cold easterlies and snow being dragged in with those easterly winds. It's May, of course, it's not going to be freezing cold, but it probably will be dragging in quite a bit of cloud, especially to the eastern side of the country. And then we keep those easterlies going to the end of next week, up to day 10, which is Saturday the 6th of May. No real change. We've got a lot of high pressure here centred around Greenland and Iceland. We've got low pressure underneath it, and we're doing something like that with the flow. So again, it's a bit of a northerly component to this easterly wind, which means we shouldn't be expecting an especially warm week next week. Yes, we will see the temperatures lift up compared to this week, but I would have thought not really all that far from average. We've got to be watching out for these areas of low pressure, which is where all the uncertainty, I think, is coming in during the next few days. All these areas of low pressure around here have the potential to undercut the block and produce, particularly for southern parts, interestingly, produce quite wet weather. For the north, I think you're solidly dry, close to that area of high pressure. But for the south, just got to watch where those low pressures are going underneath this ridge of high pressure. This is the east end. You have again bringing in those southerly southeasterly winds, so temperatures do lift up over the weekend. Low pressure is close to the south though on Bank Holiday Monday. There it is, just to the south of Ireland, and there's probably some sort of weather front in there. So southern southwest parts of the country could have rain on Bank Holiday Monday. The north of the east could get the driest of the weather. Into the early part of next week, it takes up to Wednesday. High pressure takes over the pattern. Again, you see that the wind coming around this high pressure is easterly, but it's got a northeasterly sort of component, so it's not going to be tremendously warm. Yes, temperatures will lift up a bit compared to this week, but probably no more than about average. We go through to the second half next week. High pressure dominating the weather still. Real blocking feature there around Greenland and Iceland. These are the sort of charts, anybody wants cold and snowy weather, these are kind of charts you was looking for in the winter, and of course we didn't get them. We've got to May, and here we go. Yet again, we've got this sort of blocking setting up to our north. Again, we've got these low pressures underneath this ridge. These low pressures are mostly going to the south of us with the east end, so it looks pretty dry, just bringing in fairly dry easterly winds in the second half of next week. We go through to day 10, which is Saturday 6th of April. These areas of low pressure then potentially are getting a little bit closer, starting to threaten the south in particular, but really it's still this big blocking feature around Greenland and Iceland that is dominating the weather. This could, just at the outside, this could be starting to move towards quite a wet pattern, the southern parts of the country, but it will very much depend. Of course, it's been really dry over the past few weeks and months, so probably want the rain actually in the south, but it will very much depend how close these areas of low pressure get to us. If they go in that sort of direction, then we'll keep it pretty dry with east-northeasterly winds. But if they begin to push up towards this blocking feature, undercut the block and start to go in that sort of direction, then we could be setting up really quite a wet spell for southern areas. It's very much up in the air, that, but don't be all that surprised as we go into May if we begin to break this dry spell that we've been in for quite some time. So just having a look at the beige climate centre for the next 40 days, and these are the 500 mile heights broken down to 10-day periods. For the first 10-day period will take us from the 26th of April to the 5th of May. Looks unsettled. Low pressure is out to our west and southwest. We've got this blocking feature up to the north and the northeast over here as well. So it's a pretty good representation of what we've just been looking at, actually. These low pressures are threatening to bring rain up from the southwest, and the block, of course, to the north is bringing the wind in from the east. The second 10-day period takes us from the 6th through to the 15th of May. But Beige Climate Centre wants to have this block taking over. So those rain-bearing areas of low pressure are well to our south with this. The high pressure is dominating over and to the east and northeast country. The wind is coming in from the east on dry weather then, if that's right, through the first sort of half of May. The next 10-day period takes us from the 16th to 25th of May. That has the blocking feature to south of Greenland. Low pressure is underneath it. So again, we're still bringing the flow in from the east. Could be a very easterly May, this. Still bringing the flow in from the east. Probably quite dry. But again, you've got to be watching out for these areas of low pressure to start to undercut the blocking feature. And we go through to the final 10 days, which is the 26th of May through to the 4th of June. So just into the beginning of summer. No great changes, actually. Low pressure is still out to our west-southwest. We've still got the block around Greenland and Iceland, possibly setting up some sort of a trough over Scandinavia. So if anything, winds possibly going more northeasterly there. But essentially, it's still pretty dry, I think, because these main rain-bearing systems from the Atlantic, they're still quite away from us in the central part of the Atlantic Ocean. So the Beige Climate Centre, I think it's seeing quite a dry spell through the course of May. But when I look at the charts, the GFS and the ECWF, I do think that as this block is setting up around Greenland and Iceland, we've got to watch out for those areas of low pressure undercutting and possibly bringing some quite wet weather into the south. Just my hunch of what could happen as we get through into May. Not any real firm evidence for it in terms of the model output at the moment, but just something to watch out for, that we might get some wetter conditions potentially in the south in the period of May, possibly the second week of the month perhaps. Right, later on we're going to have that 6th update for the May Day Bank Holiday weekend, so come back for that. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.